Hello, everyone.
Hi.
I would say welcome back. For some of you, this might be your first time checking out one of our videos, but this is the third one we've done here in 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are some of the folks who are heavily involved in the DragonCon Newbies group here on Facebook and also at the convention. So just here to answer some questions, offer some tips, go around the virtual room here a little bit. My name is Kevin Batchelder.
I'm Kim McGivney.
I'm Suka's mother. Hi, everybody.
Okay. So we have been doing these a couple weeks apart here leading up to Con. This will be our last one. We'll be doing before Con. Next weekend is going to be a little too crazy prepping to be able to do another one of these. But we are here today to offer up some tips and answer some questions. So if you are watching us live, be it Facebook, YouTube, or the spots that we've got this going on, and you have some questions about Con, feel free. Just throw in a comment there. We should see it, and we will be glad to address it.
So I think the biggest thing happening right now is that the app has updated, and everybody's very excited about the schedule. There's lots of tips we can give for navigating the schedule, but we don't want to tell you stuff you already know. However, as someone who has been using the app since they first debuted the app, just really quickly, what I find the most effective way for figuring out your schedule is if you're not a panelist, which as a newbie, you're probably not a panelist, is, oh, Michael's back. There he is. Michael Faulkner, everybody. Go to in the app, go to the celebrities, the guests that you're most excited to see, and you can view all of the stuff they're doing. If you tap the star, it adds it to your individual calendar. Once you're through with the different celebrities, you can filter the events by the different tracks you're interested in. As we talked about last time, tracks are just an organizational method. So if it's Star Wars, you can view everything Star Wars by looking at the Star Wars track. If it's urban fantasy, everything urban fantasy. If it's sci-fi lit, same thing. And the biggest thing to remember as you continue to add events to your schedule is that you should not stress out about conflicts. DragonCon is a play it by ear situation. You're going to have to see how you feel, how your feet feel, whether you want to walk to a different hotel. So, I guess the flexibility at this point in the game tends to be our biggest DragonCon tip.
And especially for 2021. We always say, as you'll see in many groups, that the schedule is very fluid, write things in pencil, realize they're going to change. They're never official until the event is actually over. But this year, for sure, just as someone who is involved in several panels, things have just been radically shifting based on, room availability and some guests and schedules. So use it as a guide, especially this far out, because we're still well over a week. And sometimes the con will even add guests. Some folks I saw mentioning in one of the group discussion areas were like, okay, now that I know everybody who's coming, I'm going to start deciding what's most important. Be careful. The con has added big names sometimes just a few days before con in the past. So just as Sue was saying, realize a lot of things are very much fluid, but the app is so helpful there. So playing around with it now, ahead of the con, good idea to get used to what the different buttons do, the schedule items. As you said, some folks do tend to stress out when they go to add an item and it tells you there's already one there. That's okay. Many of us will have 3, 4, even 5 events listed. We just have to wait and see that day, that time, what we're in the mood for.
There are some people who like to have an option in each hotel. So they purposely look for 5 things to put in each schedule slot.
Let me
There's
talk
also an
about
option.
let me talk about another feature in the app, and it's friend codes. Okay. Now you only need one code between you and your friends. So either your friend sends you one or you send your friend one. And that way you can share what each other's schedules are.
Mhm.
And if you don't like the idea of swapping the codes back and forth, there's a possibility of I think if you make your profile, you set it all up and stuff, you'll appear in the attendees list, and you just go in there and start poking at your friends and saying, okay, add them as a friend, that's a lot easier too. One other thing that's really important for your schedule is the ability to add your own events in there, and I recommend wholeheartedly adding in lunch, dinner, food periods, because you will forget. You'll be going 90 miles an hour with your hair on fire, and you'll realize I haven't eaten in the last couple meals. I really am going to collapse if I don't grab something. So set aside some time for yourself while you're there, even if it means missing a really important panel or something. Like, don't get into trouble. We've seen people collapse as early as Friday afternoon, Friday morning one year.
Oh yeah.
Now that the parties start Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As Gary Lindros also says in the comments, schedule a shower.
Gosh.
Yeah, it depends on how much of a scheduler you are, but yes,
yes.
Again, the very fluid nature of things. Don't hesitate there, but it's and that's the nature too of the different tracks. Like we said, if you're someone, and we said this in previous events, but it certainly bears repeating because it comes through every year. You can just narrow things down to just a certain track that you might want to watch events in because you get comfortable in a certain area. But if you want to sample the awesomeness of Dragon Con with 30 plus tracks, that's where spending a little time, especially in the app, just looking through track by track some of the events. Because we love to see the question that pops up all the time in the newbie group and in main official groups too, of hey, what are the can't miss events? Well, hey, that's different for everybody, and sometimes those aren't the most popular ones. They aren't the high profile guest, but you find that great discussion, that fan panel, that event going on. Who knows? And sometimes I've only come across those by just spending some time looking through the app and seeing an event that I never would have thought to search for that, but I didn't know they were doing that. Because again, with hundreds of events, you can be rewarded for spending some time ahead of con going through the stuff.
That is often my plan for my airplane trip. Because I'll do my searches, I'll look for the things that I know I'm interested in, but I also know that I'm going to have 2+ hours on a plane, and that's when I really go through the schedule with a fine-tooth comb and look for stuff I wouldn't have otherwise caught my eye, and fill out the rest of my schedule that way.
And a lot of the surprise stuff for each year comes from unexpected direction, like the last town hall that Dragon Con held. They talked to the gaming director, and he mentioned, paint the paint intake panels for the miniatures. And I was like, you're gonna wait? You sit down and you actually paint with an instructor, and then you take the thing you painted home with you. Okay, that's cool. I'm slotting that in there just in case I get time.
I've done that one. That one's fun.
Yeah.
I've actually been to that one of those. Those are a lot of fun.
Clinton.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we've mentioned it on some of our events, but certainly it's been mentioned in our Facebook group, the Dragon Con Newbies group on Facebook, if you haven't seen it. The 50 Days of Dragon Con podcasts are a great resource for information about different tracks. Lee and John do a great job there talking to some of the track directors. I learned a ton of stuff about puppetry and some of the events they're doing, interactive nature of some of that stuff. Star Wars and some of the other tracks they've talked to, with many more coming. I mean, sometimes, again, it's the stuff I never think about until I hear someone talking about it. So again, if you're someone who has some good time and you're, walking, exercising, commuting, whenever it might be, those podcasts are a great way to hear a little more about each of the tracks, get a little more info, and sometimes find some details that, again, you didn't know about. Because, again, if this is your first time coming, Sue's got the link up there because she's all over the stuff for us. You're never going to see everything. you're going to leave. Hopefully, you're going to leave this year with the feeling of, I can't wait to come back because I know there's so much more stuff, be it other tracks or events and things. So that's what all of us who've been coming for many years realize is it's just a case of finding what fits us on that given con weekend, and also knowing that there's just going to be a great resource of more of it. And this year too, they're really doing a great job amping up the virtual part of the con. The convention has put a lot of effort into making that more rich with content for the, I believe it's a $10 fee. You can get access to that for several months from the time of con till I think it's next summer. I think I heard him say the
I think
$10
it's June.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And you get a chance to, either rewatch panels you might have greatly enjoyed with guests. I know each of the tracks is putting together at least a couple of fan discussion panels too. And again, these are the things you'd never get the time, maybe get to all of them, but you can make con last for several months by doing that.
There's also another podcast, the Dragon Con Report from ESO Network, that's been on for a long time. They don't do the Unique Geek does 50 days of Dragon Con, and they start out 50 days out. The Dragon Con Report comes out, I think it's once a month, between one Dragon Con and the next.
Yeah, they start earlier in the season too, and they start bringing in, the directors and other fans and stuff, and really start kind of doing all the interviews ahead, that far ahead to kind of get people ready, offering tips and tricks too. We've been on there a few years with the nature of the way that things were working last year and this year. We didn't get a chance to really stop in, but yeah, I do recommend the ESO Network's Dragon Con Report as well.
Yeah, and along those lines, we should mention, as we have in other Q&As, that a lot of things are up in the air this year.
Yeah.
Things are going to keep changing. We always preach flexibility. That's going to be even more so the case this year. Excuse me. But the place to find what you need to know is dragoncon.org/updates.
Mm-hmm.
That's your go-to. Not people on Facebook, not anybody who's not official. dragoncon.org/updates.
Yes, especially with how fast things are changing with this landscape right now. Like within the last week or so, with the new masking and the new vaccination and or testing requirements, and things may continue to evolve on that front. I know I got the email, and I think everybody else did too. Whereas, okay, what is your household doing to prepare? Are you going to be doing the vaccinations or the swab test, or are you interested in on-site testing? Well, that's a whole new wrinkle. Be prepared for that if you're interested. So yeah, this landscape is so dramatically different than any other year we've done this, that you pay attention to the official sites, the official news channels, and make sure you're up to date, because you don't want to show up to the con and then, I don't have this or this and miss out. So.
Yep. And it is pointed out here that many of the individual tracks have their own social media and YouTube channels and Facebook groups to check out. And the app, when you look at the schedule, actually indicates whether the streaming event is going to be on the Dragon Con channel, on the YouTube channel of the track, or on Twitch. So it's that little tag at the end of like the location notification. So those are the three options: the track YouTube channel, a Dragon Con channel, or Twitch.
And that's also a great thing to keep in mind after con, because as they're pointing out there, and I know certainly for the four of us and many other folks, we're active in some of these groups year round, because some of these groups are only, for certain tracks active maybe a couple of months leading up to con as they start working on schedule. But for many of these groups, you're finding folks who are other fans just like you of whatever that topic might be. Sci-fi lit, urban fantasy, the Brit track, many others. And there's a community there of people you can be talking with, year round, offering ideas, suggestions for panels, learning as things start to come together. Links to some of these virtual panels. Some of the tracks now are not just doing the virtual panels for the con, so to speak, for con weekend. They're doing virtual panels year round. So if you're a big fan of some of these topics, you can either be just a viewer, or taking like you are maybe today watching us, or you can even be involved as a panelist potentially if they're looking for folks to get. For us, it very much becomes a part of what we do all year round.
Speaking of the app and also AfterCon, have we talked about feedback yet?
We have not.
No,
Okay,
Not.
yeah.
Oh,
One of the really important things, because you have to remember that the Dragon Con is fan driven. It's for the fans by the fans. So you have a distinct voice in what happens next year at con. And if you go into the app for each of the panels that you go attend or each of the events you go attend, there is a spot in there to add feedback. And it's a 5-star system in there, scaling, from 1 to 5. And then you can also add comments in there in certain fields. The feedback is anonymous. They don't know who it comes from, so there's no risk of retribution if you really despise something. You put a 1-star in there, but that feedback is honestly digested by the track directors to improve for next year. So it's vitally important that you throw that data back at them and say, I liked this, I didn't like this. This thing was off, whatever else, and to make sure that we can fine tune everything going forward.
So if you're looking at the app, here it is on my phone. It's the little clipboard. I'm on the wrong side. This is hard. It's the little clipboard above the star. That is what allows you to rate the session that you're in. The pencil above the clipboard allows you to write notes on the session, and those are notes for you. So you can take notes right in the DragonCon app if you want to. Yeah, and the star obviously adds it to your schedule. So, yeah.
Also note in the app, in the maps section, that you can put in where you are and where you're trying to get to, and the app will give you directions. So if you're in the Westin and you're trying to get over to some room in the Hyatt, it will tell you how to get from one to the other one.
Have we figured out what the methodology is for those directions yet? Because I know some of us who are more experienced are like, no, I don't think so. That way is going to be where everyone's going. I'm going over here and around the corner. So
I have to say I've not actually used that function.
Okay.
But that's because I've been going for so long that I kind of know where everything is. The other option is just to ask somebody, because people are more than willing to tell you how to get to where you need to be. There is a DragonCon information booth in every hotel and in the America's Mart, and they all have maps and things and can give you directions as well.
Yep.
I swear there used to be a show on map feature, but now I can't find it.
The evolving nature of Dragon.
As we said before, if you're ever lost or needing something, the information booths or somebody wearing one of those pastel volunteer lanyards, those people will definitely help you
Well,
out.
I don't know. We don't know what color they'll be this year.
Yeah, I don't know yet either. Usually there's some sort of bright pastel or neon.
They're usually, they're a distinguishable color, and they'll say volunteer on them, but we usually don't know until we get to con what color those will be. Also, a note on being lost. There's something to be said for being lost and just wandering into whatever the closest panel is. You find some really interesting stuff that way that you didn't even know you were interested in. I listened to a really interesting discussion one time when I was lost. I went into a panel and I heard a really interesting discussion about the nutritional value of crickets. So,
I mean, it's true.
It was fascinating. I didn't know you could make flour out of crickets. I mean, who knew? Yeah.
And I did see someone, I think it was even just this morning, mentioning, in a very positive post, but saying, gee, I hope I don't get lost. And yeah, you will. It's okay. I mean, most of us has been going, like Kim said, many, many years, and I still turn the wrong way or go up the wrong staircase. So it's going to happen. And even with the official resources, be it the maps or the app or the information booths, this is a wonderful community, folks. Don't hesitate just to ask to another con goer, maybe, hey, I'm trying to get to X or Y or a certain place. And many of them are going to be glad to tell you, because for most of us that have been for more than a year or two, we remember what it was like. We know, we're glad to try to help you in the right way of going.
Yeah.
Yeah, even times it's so different. The landscape is so different when the hotels are empty and you're like, okay, I know where I am, I know where I got to go, and then you throw thousands of people on top of it, and it's like, okay, I think I got this. And I've been in that same boat too. Where like I've got to be to a panel in 10 minutes. It's over in the Hilton. I scurry. Oh no, I'm in the Hyatt. How did I get here? Oh crap! I got 5 minutes.
Yeah, and for me anyway, the last several years I've tended to sort of orbit the same tracks, right?
Yeah.
So I go to the same places all the time. And there was one year Trek Track was in America's Mart for some reason, and I was so lost. It happens. It happens to all of us. It happens to the best of us.
Yep.
Just go with it.
Yeah, that's right. Go with it. Don't worry about it.
They moved that to where?
Yeah. I've never been in that building before.
And that's a tough one too, because like all the hotels on a normal year, I should say, like like Saturday especially, they'll start clamping down on capacity. The America's Mart is notorious though, because that's where the vendors halls are. So if you're trying to go to a panel in the America's Mart, you're fighting vendor crowds, and they're like, no, we're cutting this off. We're already to the gills. You're like, you don't understand. I'm a panelist. I gotta be up there.
That was exactly my situation. I'm moderating a panel and you won't let me into the building? Cool. There aren't panels in the America's Mart anymore.
For good reason.
I don't think there are.
Oh.
We're not getting a lot of questions.
No.
Everybody must know everything by now.
Just like at the con, don't be bashful. If you get something, throw it in one of the comments. We see some folks being very nice with throwing up ideas here. So if you do have a question or whatever, that's why we all love doing the newbie stuff. And now our newbie events, if you're not aware, we'll be doing walking tours on Thursday afternoon, noon to 4. Our room has been assigned in the Marriott where it's always been. A 601, 602, unless that changes. So do check day of. But that's
on the atrium level.
Atrium level. To go for a short walking tour to kind of give you some ideas. And these events happen because of amazing group of folks who volunteer to assist us every year. If you'd like to do that, and along with that, we also do a couple of very much like these live events here, just open Q&A panels. We do one Thursday evening at 5:30 in that same room, and also first thing Friday morning at 10 a.m. A room I think is assigned over in the Hyatt as it's been, but same thing. These are 1-hour sessions. Come in and ask questions. In case you don't have a lot of time here on the virtual ones, or you're watching a recording after the fact and wanted to be able to ask it, and want to go to the Facebook group, you can come to one of those panels too. And we've just done these ourselves. We're not an official group or anything here. We've just been doing our stuff, and the con has embraced us and provided us with room space as a great example of how the con is of folks just helping out. So don't be bashful.
Yeah. If I recall correctly, and let me know if I'm wrong on this, we're still requiring badges because for each of our events, even on Thursday. So make sure you plan enough time on Thursday when they open registration to go get your badge, and then come back to us for 12 o'clock to start up with the tours.
And
Sue, if they ask a question, what do they get?
They get a ribbon. A badge ribbon.
A badge ribbon.
That I don't have an example of because it's across the room.
It's already packed.
Kim, she's already got her list and everything, and
I do not. I'm very far behind. However, Kim, why don't you tell people who may not know about the Loyal Order of the Ribbon?
The Loyal Order of the Ribbon is a group. It's a Facebook group on Facebook, of course, called the Dragon Con Loyal Order of the Ribbon, and it is all people that really are into the ribbons and stuff. And this year, they are teaming up with the art show, and will actually have some panels in the art show. They are going to have, I believe, on either Sunday or Monday, they are going to have their contest for the best badge beard, which is how long a run of ribbons you have off of your badge. So there are lots and many ribbons to be gone.
I think
All
Kim
right.
made a 4th Doctor scarf one year out of all her ribbons.
Yeah, if you do plan on collecting a bunch of badge ribbons and making a badge beard, binder clips are great to help roll that up. Paper clips are good. Little clothespins.
I used on the really long ones that I had, and I posted in our group and showed them on here. I used electrical tape because it's handy.
To reinforce it.
It's easy. You're right. It's easy to find, and it comes in the nice little plastic containers. It doesn't get stuck on stuff. But that way, I didn't have ones like falling off.
Yeah.
But then I had to fold them up and put paper clips on them, so I wasn't walking on them.
Hey, does this mean we finally found a use for those badge clips?
The alligator clips. So we have a correction from Kevin.
Those won't work.
That comics and pop art panels, most of them do still happen in America's Mart. So my bad. Hopefully there's a better entry system than there was that first year.
Yeah, plan ahead if you want to go to those panels.
And Gary asks, will there still be large nighttime events?
I know that some are doing the nighttime events. The Bunny Hutch is still going on. The sing-along for the classics and Sci-Fi Media Track is still going on. But keep in mind, there's also still the rules are still in place for those and for any other parties. There's the mask requirement. There's the 2/3 capacity that they're going to put into place. So be prepared if you're trying to get in to have some lines and to understand that it's going to be way different still than what we're used to.
Right. I know that 8-Bit Ball, Last Dance on Alderaan, the Yule Ball, those are all happening.
Yeah, the Brit Track's still doing their
Symphony
events.
Orchestra is still coming. Yeah.
Yep.
I can't. They have a dance on the Doctor Who, and I can't remember what it's called right now. But anyway, what else is going on?
I think it's just the Doctor Who ball.
I think so.
It might be.
I know Carol's in the comments right now, so she'll probably
Correct
let
us,
us know.
Carol.
It might be. Carol, we need you.
We're gonna get yelled at.
Yep.
There's also like the 80s prom that X-Track does. There's a lot of stuff going
There's
on.
There's a zombie prom. I remember seeing that one. Those are just the ones I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah. So here's one. How does one propose a panel if one wishes to do so? Oh, this is a complicated answer.
Okay. First, no, really, it's not. First off, you need to kind of figure out, okay, what kind of panel is it you want to propose? Would it be a Doctor Who panel? Would it be a sci-fi lit panel? Would it be a science track panel? And then what I would do is email the director of that panel, and those email addresses can be found on dragoncon.org with what your ideal is and what you would like to do. Now, your chances of doing it at this DragonCon, pretty slim. Yeah. But next DragonCon, you might be able to get it in there, because there is a time of the year when directors are looking for panel suggestions.
I would say that time tends to start around late May, early June for most tracks. Yeah. See, the programming is all done individually by the track directors for each track, and they all do it differently. Some tracks want you, if you want to propose a panel, some tracks want a fully fleshed out, like, here is a title, here is a description, here's exactly what I want to do, and here are my panelists, yes or no. Other tracks will openly say, hey, who has an idea? What do you want to talk about? And it's just like a form, a Google form that you fill out. Some tracks don't take suggestions at all. So it's very dependent on the one that you want to work with.
And don't get discouraged by the hunt for which track is appropriate, because sometimes the lines are really blurry. You think like the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going to be on the American Sci-Fi Media Track, Sci-Fi Fantasy Media Track, but if it's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or Agent Carter or something along those lines, you might be over on the X track or something along those lines. If you email the wrong director, usually they're very patient to say, oh, okay, well, thank you for your suggestion. That's actually this track, and you'll just be redirected. It's not a big deal. A lot of us are very helpful about trying to get things done that way.
Yeah, and as Clinton says, be patient, because they've got a lot going on.
Oh yeah. The September to November timeframe, probably not the best time, because that's decompression, that's processing all the data from the feedback. You're going to head right into the holidays at that point. So
wait until
yeah,
after wait until at least like February, before you start emailing about the con for next year and panels you'd like to do.
But as we said before, too, this is the perfect opportunity for you to find that track's Facebook or social media group or Discord channel or whatever else, and to jump in with them and to start, getting to know the people who are coordinating that track, getting to know all the fans that are in that track, because then you can also start dropping those hints inside those social media groups. It's not an official submission or anything,
right,
but you'll start building that interest. You can't be the only person that's thought of that one panel idea.
Well, and if you're attending events on that track in person at con,
Yeah.
you can go up to the track director and introduce yourself and say, hey, I love what you're doing. I have these ideas. I'd love to participate in the future.
Yeah.
It's,
right.
Don't get discouraged on that either. If you do go up and introduce yourself and you have an idea and you shoot it out there and they're like, okay, that's awesome, thank you. I know for a fact that there are plenty of track directors who are like, I don't remember you because I meet thousands of people in that weekend. Remind me, refresh my memory.
Mm-hmm.
And B, I know I've got a list somewhere that I've lost of all the ideas that we've all generated creatively at con. And we're like, this will be great, we should do this. And like years go by, like, oh yeah, I remember that one time we were talking about this idea and we forgot it.
I think we're specifically talking about the classics track again, aren't we?
or our circle of friends. Yeah, we'll be sitting around post-con lunch. You're like, it would be awesome. 3 months later, like, what was that we were talking about again?
No idea.
It's lost at con.
And then once you do get very comfortable and familiar with the people in these different social groups, what can happen, as it did to me this year, is you'll put out an idea for something that seems like a good panel topic, and then you get assigned to moderate that panel.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that I can vouch for that happening.
Yep.
Yes.
and again, that's not something you want to do. Speaking on panels, you don't have to, but it's a great example of how, if you become a part of the community and involved, it helps if the track directors and the people in the tracks do get to know some of the people, via the different social channels, because then it might be an opportunity to be involved come the next year, whenever that might be. This is what makes a lot of con for many of us so much fun, is getting to make these friendships and be a part of the con. Maybe not your first year, maybe not even your second, depending upon your personality, but your ability to potentially be a fan panelist. Again, depending upon the track, it's there. And some of these tracks, as Sue was laying out, each director does it a slightly different way of how they might get, request ideas, but they also do it differently for how they run their panels. Some tracks have a moderator for the fan discussions, so all the questions are directed from a moderator. Some, it's just kind of shoot from the hip and there's no one in charge, in the best way possible, where you get to have a very open discussion going. So each track's a little different. That's where being part of the social circles might give you a feel for which ones are doing things a certain way. And therefore, you might find you're more comfortable in one track or another initially volunteering to be a panelist. It might be easier if it's a moderated panel where someone's going to direct a question to you to answer, whereas another track where it might be you coming up with the topic to start for conversation. So they're all a little different, and where your comfort level is up to you. But that is one of the real joys that some folks don't see their first year or two, is the ability that you could be a part of the con. I mean, all of us, some of the things we've been doing, whether officially volunteering or just speaking on some panels or doing the newbie events, everybody, you dip your toe in differently and you get to be a part of this.
It's quite the feeling when the track director looks at you and says, okay, you got this. I'm like, wait, I what now? I'm like, I trust you. Take it. Yeah.
I've been to, because I've been going for a long time. I know a lot of people. Just give that a given. But I've actually gone to a panel where I went to see the panel, and like one of the panelists didn't show up, and I got pulled out of the audience to be on the panel. You know about this? Here, come.
I've had that happen too, where you show up to watch the panel because you want to learn something about it, and the people are like, someone didn't show up, you're on this. Like, no, I don't know anything about it. That's why I'm here.
Okay.
Sure.
stuff up, okay?
Yeah.
Gary.
What happened?
Early on. Flexibility.
Hi, Joe. Hi, Gary.
Everything's got its own
You know what
personality.
we're talking about.
All right.
Are there any more questions floating out there?
I have a question.
What's up, Kim?
I was wondering if my other three panelists have joined the newest cult at Dragon Con.
I want to. I support this cult.
Wait a minute. There's
Really?
only one? There's only one?
No, the newest.
There's a new one that has started before con even started this year.
Nuh-uh.
There's
I'm an
now
OG. All right. OG.
Yeah, there's the
Yeah.
I'm a janitor.
You are a janitor.
I was talking with my wife yesterday about this. She didn't realize that she hasn't really opened the app much yet, and I realized that closed for cleaning is on the schedule. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
that's going to have so many implications. A, you can start it, and you can reserve that spot. Not that you can go in and do anything, but you can reserve that spot. But B is the most important part. You could 5-star all those throughout the entire convention. I am fully in support of clean panel rooms.
I have seen some comments by some directors who I will not name that if you show up for clothes for cleaning, you will be put to work. Let us spray.
God.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep,
But
that's awful.
this reference, this is Bob and Carl, the sci-fi janitors, who they're puppets, and they started with clips on Dragon Con TV and those little like pre-panel roles a couple years ago, and got very popular. And they are the reason that Dragon Con has a puppetry track, no joke,
Right.
which has now been around for 10 years. And yeah, puppetry track, Bob and Carl.
If
You
you-
can see
if
all
you-
their stuff on the Dragon Con TV YouTube page as well, if you want to go and watch the
Well,
old clips.
also, Bob and Carl have their own YouTube channel
Mhm.
called the Sci-Fi Janitors.
Mm-hmm.
So Bob and Carl have their own YouTube channel.
And there are many cults, shall we say, of Dragon Con over the years. And this is not like in some organizations where it's going to be like shh, you can't know about that. You're new, but you may hear some folks talking about that, or the cult of the carpet, or
Yes.
the FedEx guy, or there's
John.
a ton of them. Yeah, John.
Yeah.
Must be 18.
The fact that group actually tracked down the model for that standee.
Yeah,
he was
I know.
beside
That
himself.
was amazing. That was amazing.
Yeah.
That was amazing. And also, let us not forget Trashy and Eska and later.
Right. And if you are curious about any of this mythology behind the con, this pop culture, well, I don't even know what to call it at this point. Just ask anybody who's wearing a piece of carpet, or they've got a sign
There's
for
also-
SN later. Yeah.
There's also a Cults of Dragon Con Facebook group. Just saying. Throw that out there.
Oh my goodness.
Now
We're
is there a
bunch
cult
of
of the
nerds.
cults?
like,
Like have we gone so meta now that we have a cult of cults?
oh
Well, I
yeah,
don't
and
know,
last year there was something about eggs.
Yeah, I didn't
Eggs.
get that
I
one.
missed
Eggs.
that.
And there was also Chad. May he bless our souls.
Mm.
Chad of the comfy shoes.
Oh, we're going off the rails.
This is just another example of how fun
You're
this
day
con-
drinking.
I am. Look, I've been editing a podcast for 3 weeks. So
I mean, this is just another fully realized example of how this con is your own to make. Like this is this is the fun is out there. You just have to go either find it or make it yourself, and find some people who want to also enjoy this fun with you.
well, I want to try and steer us back to our tips
Something close to the rails that we went off of.
A little bit.
As the train
So-
is careening out into Eastwood Ravine.
Oh, those royals have all been out the shape. You're gone now.
This past week in the Facebook group, which is here, we have been talking packing tips, right?
Yeah.
My favorite one is a new one to me that I'm very excited about, and I learned about it on the Star Trek cruise, and that is an over-the-door shoe organizer. You know, you can get the cheap ones from like the dollar store or IKEA, right? Put it over your bathroom door and put all of your toiletries and makeup and things in there to save counter space in the bathroom, especially if you've got multiple people in your hotel room.
Yeah.
Love it.
Good.
One of my new favorites.
Oh, yeah.
Very good. Yeah, I like that.
It's if you got enough space too, you can even organize your cosplay shoes by day. So,
I mean, you could bring multiple shoe
Right.
organizers. Why not?
One of my favorite things, and I don't have it where I can show it to you, is a thing I bought that I refer to as the brick that I got off Amazon. It was cheap. It was less than $20. It's got 3 electrical outlets on it and 4 USB ports. That thing is so handy because it means that we're not fighting over who gets the receptacle to charge up their thing now, because there are multiple places to plug things in. You know, and I think that's really useful when you have roommates to have multiple places to charge them.
Good idea as well. Yep.
yeah.
Because you're going to be charging stuff, your phone and everything else you're going to need there. It's the best way to have it. Leave the room with it at 100% in the morning. Have your best shot at lasting a good part of the day.
Go find a wall by noon.
Along those lines, to conserve your battery on your mobile device, turn off your Wi-Fi. There is none. Just give up. Don't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you leave it on, your phone will be searching for a Wi-Fi connection the whole time. So just turn it off.
I turn it off when I'm down in the bowels of the Hyatt. I put it on airplane mode because it'll be searching for a cell signal. Same deal. You know, it'll be searching and there's none to be found. So I just put the thing on airplane mode and don't worry about it until I turn it on where I know that I can pick up a signal.
Yeah, that tip that Kim had shared many years ago was an excellent one for me because I know, someone who speaks on several panels. I mean, for the 45 minutes to an hour, I'm not going to get any calls anyway. I'm not even going to look for them. So turning it off into airplane mode for the length of the panel greatly reduces the amount of power draw on it. And then, if you have a few minutes between panels, turn it back on, catch up on your voicemails or whatever, and good to go. So these are the kind of things you can learn as you go, for the time and the use of the resources too. Again, reinforce a small thing. Again, sorry, there's a discussion the other day with panels running with 30 minutes between them, running hour at a time, 30 minutes and so forth. If you are new to the con and you just start going just like that, kid on Christmas morning, too many presents to open and you can't stop, bring with you whatever your snacks of choice are. If you got a backpack or a fanny pack or whatever it might be, at least get yourself some snack food, some things going in between those meals that you might not be doing as often as you should, because I know for me, I'm a snacker and it helps me a great deal to have some, whatever it might be, with me to save some time too.
If you're planning on new shoes, you still have just enough time to break them in before con. Do not wear your brand new shoes to con. That would be a bad idea.
It's also a good time to get the flu shot.
Yes. Takes about 2 weeks to become effective, and even considering the fact that if you're coming from a large distance away, they calibrate it when you get it to the variants will be in your area. You still might have a good chance of defeating it, even coming here. So, I recommend it.
Well, one other thing we touched on before we went live, folks, too. So you want to talk a little bit about the Airbnb?
Oh, yeah. So we often get the question, sometime around January of how do I get a host hotel room? You start now for next year. and usually they'll become available in the weeks after con. The different hotels control their own room blocks, so they'll all go on sale at different times. But if you're in the Dragon Con groups, if you see the posts that have been going up every day, it's my Airbnb just canceled on me. My Airbnb just canceled on me. And there's always a big group of them, and it happens every year. Don't
Every day,
rely on Airbnb.
That's a roll the dice, folks. For
Yep.
Dragon Con. Big roll the dice.
And if you don't have a room yet, this is actually in your favor for the the weirdness that we're having. There are a lot of cancellations going on, and you might stand a really good chance of getting into a host hotel at this point. So just keep calling, be courteous, see if there's any openings in the Dragon Con room block. Also keep trying those overflows because you may get lucky and get in.
You also might want to check like Dragon Con Room and Ride Share and Dragon Con Hotel Connection, and there's 2 or 3 other Facebook groups I know of that are specifically set up to deal with people that have rooms that they want to transfer to somebody else because they can't come.
Yep.
And this year there's a lot of that.
How about this one? Dragon Con Swag and Seek.
I still need to get my bags together. I've got a few items to drop off this year.
You want to explain it?
Yeah, Swag and Seek is a great group. A lot of people are just getting together on their own and either building or sourcing items that are of a geeky nature. A lot of people are using 3D printers now to develop little tokens or whatever, but they'll either package them up somehow with a little note or let you know that they're available, and they'll just drop them at random spots. And it's just people giving back to other fans, just little tchotchkes that they think they want to pass on to somebody else, or to give a little welcome gift to, hey, welcome to your new family, that kind of stuff. You can find them somewhere as mundane as just like on a table or on on top of an ATM machine, to kind of buried in one of the planters as you're walking by.
Yeah.
It's just wherever you happen to see these things. Another one was the Dragon Con Rocks group. I don't know if they're doing anything this year. I've seen a few posts from people, but just walking along and by the poop lions out by the Marriott or whatever else, and there's a little painted rock right there. You pick it up and it's got a little dragon on it. You flip it over, it has some notes on the back of it. Just another free item that somebody has taken the time to develop just for you because you're the one who found it.
There are tons of little things like that throughout the con. Little is probably not the right word, but sub groups, I guess.
And there is, if you want to get involved, definitely seek out the Swag and Seek group or the Dragon Con Rocks groups on Facebook. There are a lot of tips and tricks in there. Like, don't just dump something in a flower pot or leave something sitting out, because people either say that's lost and found, or the cleaning crews will come through like, why is this garbage in my flower pot, and throw it out. If you leave it a little note with it, then it's a little more evident that it's that's part of the Swag and Seek program. And it's not an official con thing as far as I know. It's just a fan thing that, someone
they
said.
Call it bag and tag.
Yeah, bag and tag.
And there are even examples of notes to leave in that group if you're interested in participating. You can also participate by just looking for a swag.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
These are all things I got last time in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still in your Swag and Seek bag?
Yep.
Of course.
I hate, some of them are. Yeah, not all of them are, but some of them are. So, but you'll see a lot of people, this is the Swag and Seek logo, right? And so a lot of people, their Swag and Seek things will have a tag on it that has this logo on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they had things all over the place, and there's cool things like, this is my little unicorn duck. And this is a tiny little baby duck. I got a dragon. Okay.
It's just like the ribbons where people have dedicated their time and money and effort into building these things just to make your experience better. Going and buying like the bulk set of those little quarter machine dragons, and I'm just gonna put these everywhere. it adds a dimension that didn't exist 10 years ago to this kind of event, where it just brightens your day to find a little thing.
Again,
There are
it's
all
helping
kinds
make the
of
con.
things. These were just some things that I had handy. A lot of it's no longer there, but I kind of got some things together. So if we talked about that, I'd have something. I like show and tell. So,
There don't seem to be more questions coming in. I think we got some veterans watching us today. So how about this? Why don't we're 10 days less than out from con.
Mm-hmm.
Does everybody's heart skip a beat at that sentence? Mine did. For new people or for new-ish people, what is the thing that you think is the most important for them to be doing right now?
walking.
Yeah.
Getting out and going for walks.
Yep, you're going to be
Because
doing
when you get to
20+
Dragon
miles.
Con, you will be on the Dragon Con exercise program. Because everybody walks a lot.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of walking.
Planning ahead and budgeting. It sounds kind of mundane, but I saw another question that kind of popped up for like food suggestions for hidden gems for breakfast or whatever else. You're going to be in a major city. You're going to be eating out a lot. You're going to be looking at all these things in the vendors halls you want to buy. You're going to be looking for photo ops and autographs. And you may need to pick things up at CVS along the way, like for breakfast, like granola bars or something. So kind of set aside how much you want to spend, how much time you want to spend on different events, different meal options for you, especially if you've got some sort of dietary restrictions like allergies or whatever else. Make sure that you include that on your packing list. As far as like, I need to pick these things up. I need to put this much money aside. I need to have this much money for an emergency fund just in case something untoward happens. Speaking of the budgets and the money, don't rely on the ATMs. Those will be empty by Thursday. And being a holiday weekend, they won't be refilled.
Also note that there are a couple of grocery stores that will deliver to the hotel. Now, they will not deliver to your room. So you will either have to meet them in the lobby or meet them in front of the hotel to get your items from them. But particularly if you have dietary restrictions, that's a really good option.
Yeah.
I've heard that they'll only deliver Thursday and Friday and not over the weekend because it's just too busy. I don't know. I don't have experience with that, but just FYI, I have heard.
I don't know anybody that's ever tried to get delivery from them on Saturday. That I cannot speak to, and I can see why they would not deliver on Saturday. Gray, but I'm sure on Thursday and early Friday you could. I don't know about Sunday or Monday, but that isn't, like I say, that is an option to get some things.
If you need to ship anything home, remember that Monday is a holiday in the US, so FedEx will be closed, the post office will be closed. Sometimes hotels will take packages from you and mail them for a fee, but it depends on your individual hotel. So if you need to ship something home, you probably want to do that by Saturday.
Yeah.
TBH.
Yeah. And as well, some of the comments, perfectly timed there, Sue. We're making suggestions based on past years.
Are the grocery stores delivering? As far as I know, even with the COVID protocols in place, they are still delivering. That's why I'm saying. And in the past, I know you had to meet them either in the lobby or in front of the hotel. I would think with the COVID protocols, you would probably have to meet them in front of the hotel more likely. But they are, in fact, still delivering.
Some of the mundane things, as Michael put it, that you might want to think about is having that food or snacks or, planning some time to walk around the food courts or the nearby restaurants. Set aside some time, especially if you're there early enough to maybe get a feel for where those places are, which are the food ones you're interested in, suits your diet or tastes. because once con gets going, do you want to stand in line for 30, 40 minutes, whatever it might be, to get that meal? If you're going to try to eat at high noon, you might want to, shift that a little bit and realize where something is that might not have quite as long a line. That's something that you can get a lot of benefit out by doing a little planning or playing around as you get familiar with the areas and the hotels and what food's available where. Some folks like to build in sit-down time for meals. Some want to eat in between the events they want to get to. But as long as you've got some type of plan, know yourself a little bit. You probably don't want to be trying to think of it in the moment. It goes back to some of those planning things I always remember when I was younger, hearing about the theme parks and all. Kind of have your plan for what that is ahead of time rather than 5 minutes before you really need to eat.
And to kind of play off that too, the playing field is so odd this year. Like, there's so many different wrinkles with COVID and everything else. Just be patient, be flexible. I mean, I know that the restaurants and everything else are going to be potentially short staffed. So, there might be a longer wait just because of the way the labor things are right now, and COVID and everything else is going on. Just plan on some time, but also be kind, be patient, and be willing to be a little more flexible.
Will water fountains be available in the hotels? As far as we know.
Yeah, historically, yes. We don't know this year yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything mentioned for this year.
Tilly, ma'am.
Well, we're just about to wrap up here on our final live event here for 2021. Unless there's any last minute questions, folks, do let us know. A big thank you here to Michael, Sue, and Kim, and all the folks who are also helping us with moderator duties in our Facebook group. Now well over, I think, 5,000 members. Yeah. There's a lot going on, a lot of questions, and many of them are answered by folks who are in the group. And it takes all of us.
Let's give a shout out to the people that help with tours.
Yes.
Absolutely.
If anyone is out there watching and wants to help volunteer for the tours, reach out to Kim.
Yep. In our group, by all means. Those tour, the walking tours don't happen without a whole large group of folks willing to do that as well.
All right. It's not a con volunteer position. We just ask if you were willing to help. Give us an hour of your time on Thursday afternoon.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the newbies are adorable. They're so much fun.
Yes, we couldn't do those things without everybody else's help here, folks. That's what con is all about.
Yep.
It really is. So I think on that note here, we'll probably wrap us. But again, looking forward to seeing many of you 10-ish days time.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday, stop by at our tours or our Q&As. And we're there to help. And certainly between now and then in the Facebook group, feel free to join. And again, we'll repeat, just like on any of these live events, but especially in the group, there are no dumb questions. Yes, we may have heard your question thousands of times before. That's okay. It's new to you. And we have a whole gaggle of folks ready to help you out. So don't hesitate. But on behalf of my amazing team here, I just want to say thank you very much, everybody. We really appreciate it. And big thank you to Sue this year on these live events. She has just been all over hosting and getting all these graphics up and everything else. So big thank you to Sue for that.
Thanks. My lighting designer is right next to me. Oh, jeez.
Again, the nature of a live event for con.
You want to say goodbye, Patat? Come here. Oh.
There we
Here
go.
she is.
Oh, cat tags.
All right, get out here.
Moment in the spotlight.
Yeah.
No,
All right.
It's wonderful. We appreciate all the help from everybody. It makes it so much better at con. So we will catch you all and see you all in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Bye.
Take care of yourself.
Bye.